Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm in the same room again. It's pretty cold out. It's about 25 degrees Fahrenheit and pretty breezy, so I would love to get out and get out of this room. You always see me in this room. I mean, I guess we're in our houses a lot now, but I can get outside just if it was a little warmer. So as you may have seen from the title, this video is going to be all about suffixes. Some really grammar heavy topics today. All of these suffixes, three very common ones. You would see like full and less and able. So those are pretty common, full, less, able. And I'll talk about what a suffix is, how to use those, give some examples. But before we do that, I had a great question on an app that I like to go on for learning Italian and just connecting with viewers of the channel. It's called Hello Talk. So this is not a sponsored for the channel or anything. I don't have any sponsors, but it's just something that I use quite a bit and you can connect with people. Well, I had a question on Hello Talk this morning. And this question comes from a guy in Brazil. His name is João José. And we got to talking about prepositions. And I'm not a big fan of talking about prepositions. I think the best way to learn how to use prepositions is to do a lot of listening. A lot of listening in English. You know, watching my videos, of course, want to plug my own videos. But if you hear native speakers use prepositions correctly, often enough, I believe you will start doing the same. But his question was this, and I'll read the sentence. It was cloudy in the morning and it rained in the afternoon. So, pretty basic sentence, tells us a lot about the weather during the day, but pretty straightforward. And he asked, can I substitute? It rained at the morning. So instead of saying it rained in the morning, can you say it rained at the morning? And if you are just beginning with English, you probably think, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, to someone who is a native English speaker, it will sound off if you say it rained at the morning. It doesn't sound quite right. Now, if you have an accent and you're talking to someone and you want to express to them that it rained this morning, if you say, I'll try my best accent here, it rained at the morning. It rained at the morning. I kind of sound like Dracula, I think. I don't know, maybe that's a Romanian accent. I don't want to make any kind of accent so anybody is offended. But if you're saying it rained at the morning in a thick accent, I'm hoping whoever you are talking to isn't going to correct you, but yeah, that's not right. Nah, you have to say in the morning. So learning those prepositions, just repeat, just keep hearing them used correctly. If you do want to substitute something, you could say it rained during the morning. That will work if you want to substitute. And here's the tricky thing. You could say, oh, it rained at noontime. It rained at noon, it rained at 10 o'clock. But if you're talking about the whole morning, just stick to in or during. And I wish I could give you some kind of rule why that works, but the more you study English, maybe you have found this out already, we have no rules. At least no rules we stick to for any amount of time. We break them all the time. So I am sorry about that, but if you want just a little bit about prepositions here at the beginning, if you want to get better at prepositions, just keep listening to native speakers speak. My channel, get a good podcast, my podcast. I don't plug that much on this channel, but I do have a podcast as well. So just listen to a native speaker use those prepositions, and I promise it will help. It will take time, but it's better than memorizing all of our prepositions. But you didn't click on this video to learn about prepositions. I just hope that was a little bit of help because it is a common question, prepositions. I have been asked, when are you going to do a prepositions video? I might one day, but I am getting a little grammar heavy today, and we're going to talk about suffixes. It is beneficial, it is good if you learn some of these suffixes because they change the word, but oftentimes you can figure out the rule. This actually kind of does have a rule. You'll see some of these definitions. So if you get to a word you are not sure of, but you know a part of the word, it can really help you figure out the meaning. So a lot of our words may have a prefix that comes before the root word, or it might have a suffix which comes after the root word. So we call the main part of the word the root word. And a lot of our words come from either Latin or Greek. So with my own students in my classroom, we do study Latin and Greek roots because if they memorize some of these definitions, and I don't like memorizing learning a foreign language or any language, your own language, but sometimes this helps if you become familiar with, I've used it in a past video like ped. If you know ped means foot, if you saw the Sacagawea video, the part 1, I can put that up there. I talk about expedition, and that is something you do mostly on foot to find something new. So if you know the root, or if you know what the prefix means, and in other videos I've talked about how pre means before. When you see pre, like pre-read something, you want to read it before you actually have to read it. So it might involve skimming, just looking for key words. If you look at a prefix, pre, before, it comes before the root word. And take a look at this word, I'll put it up there. It's unbelievable. Able, I will talk about that in a minute. Able, meaning able to do it. Un, at the beginning. Prefix, meaning not. Anytime you see un at the beginning of a word, and it's rare that I can say in English every time you see this, but I do believe it holds true. Un at the beginning of a word will mean not. So if you look at the root, believe, you can literally see that it says not able to be believed, unbelievable. So if we take a look at that first suffix, remember suffixes come at the end, prefixes come at the beginning. If we look at that first suffix, full, it actually means full of whatever the root word is. For example, the first one, joyful, it literally means full of joy. So I'll use that in a sentence. I will be joyful when they find a vaccine for the coronavirus. I will be full of joy. I will be very happy when they find a vaccine for the coronavirus. So let's make this a little bit harder. Let's say we want to compare 2 times when we are joyful. And in one of them, we are more joyful than the other. For instance, I hate winter. I really do. And I live in a rather cold climate. I don't know why. I was born here. I moved down south in Alabama, another state in the United States, but now I'm back. I don't like the cold. I don't like winter. So I could say a sentence something like this. I am more joyful in the summer than, T-H-A-N. Even some native speakers get that wrong and put then. So I am more joyful in the summer than I am in the winter. So you compare the 2 seasons. You could say I am most joyful in the summer, meaning of the 4 seasons, that's when I'm most happy. That's how you do it. Now, if I wanted to change that to like less joyful, I am less joyful in the winter than I am in the summer, I think, and we would change that to unhappy. I am more unhappy in the winter. You don't usually hear less joyful. We would change it into the like worse feeling, unhappy. And notice that un at the beginning of happy. We talked about that just a minute ago, meaning not happy, unhappy. Let's talk about the next word, powerful, literally meaning full of power. So you could call a big football player powerful. You can use this for people. But in my sentence, I'm going to use it for a snowstorm. So we have a powerful snowstorm heading our way. So I think actually we do. I'm recording this I'm recording this March 21st. Could be the 22nd. When you're staying in your house all day long, every day, you know how it is. Hopefully you're doing the same thing, unless you have to work. You kind of forget the days. So I think this is March 21st. We have a snowstorm heading our way. Thankfully, I don't think it's too powerful. But let's say it was the most powerful storm of the season. You put most in front, meaning more powerful than every other storm that we had. So you could say, I think this storm is the most powerful of the year. Most powerful. That's how you change that. More powerful, most powerful. And I know some words you put an ER at the end, like stronger. You would think you could do that for powerful, right? It's powerfuler, but it doesn't work. Sorry. So the next word is painful, literally meaning full of pain. You could say the surgery was painful. The surgery was painful. But if I want to compare it to like childbirth, which is, I think, the most painful thing a human can experience, you could say the surgery was less painful than childbirth. So if you want to use less for this one, that works. So hopefully now you are experts in painful. I won't do all of the words on the chart, but hopefully that makes sense. So now let's move on to the next one. So the next one I'd like to talk about is the suffix less. When you put that on the end of a word, it means without. So the first one, careless, meaning don't have any care. Careless. And with each of these, I'm going to use them as an adverb after, and I'll talk about what an adverb does. So for the first example, the man was careless when he drove home after drinking. That would be very careless. To go drinking, get into the car, driving drunk, it's careless, it's reckless. But reckless. Remember in English, I said we break rules all the time? Wreck, it starts with an R, not a W. Like you could say he could get into a wreck, which means an accident. But if you're talking about reckless, it really doesn't work like without wreck. Sometimes we just make stuff up in English. So sorry, every time I try to give you a rule, we break it all the time. Now let's use careless as an adverb. Before we used it as an adjective describing the man, which is a noun. Adjectives describe nouns. Adverbs describe pretty much everything else. They describe adjectives, they describe verbs, they even might describe other adverbs. So I'm getting really technical with the grammar, and I hope you don't mind that, but it can really help. And with adverbs, we often add ly. But of course, this is English. We don't do the same thing every single time, but ly is often what you do to an adjective to describe verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Watch what I do here. The man carelessly threw the gum wrapper to the ground. The first sentence I talked about the man, I'm describing him as careless. In the second sentence, I'm describing the way he threw something. And throw is a verb, So to describe the verb, you have to put an ly at the end of careless. So he carelessly threw, carelessly threw. I hope you haven't already clicked off. You're like, oh, grammar. Because I know my own students in my own classroom, whenever we talk about grammar, click, they go to sleep, they get bored. Sorry. But I know a lot of English learners really want to get to the grammar stuff. I personally, in Italian, when I'm learning a foreign language, I try to do mostly listening and reading, and hopefully I will get the idea of how you use those words. But I know some people are really into the grammar. So this is why I'm doing this video. So I get all of the statistics from this video. And if I see people like watching for 2 minutes or this video doesn't get many views, I'll be like, okay, they don't like this. Leave a comment. If you're even still watching, leave a comment. I don't get with the grammar stuff anymore. That stuff's awful. Let me know. I won't do another one. But if you're still watching, I'm assuming you like it. Leave a comment saying, yes, more of these things. And I can do it, even though I feel the audience is just getting bored. Click. Hopefully you're still with me. Right, another word with less at the end, meaning without. So we have hopeless. Hope. If someone has hope, they're saying there is a chance. If there's a less at the end, they're saying there is no chance. They are hopeless. And the sentence that I want to use, of course, has to do with the coronavirus. And it is something that I keep telling myself, is that we can't become hopeless when we think about the situation. Hopefully, there will be a fix to this coronavirus thing. May take a long time, may take a few months. Hopefully it's not a few years. And if you're out of work, I am sorry. I'm very lucky that I'm a teacher and I am continuing to get paid, and I still can talk with my students on YouTube, my other channel for teaching, my YouTube channel, and we talk with each other through other ways. But yeah, it's rough. A lot of people are out of work in the United States, and I'm sure they're out of work around the world, and it's going to be a long thing. But we got to continue to be hopeful. See, you can also add full at the end of a lot of these. Not all, but a lot of these. Hopeful. We have to be hopeless. No, we have to be hopeful. We cannot be hopeless. So we need to be full of hope and not hopeless, which is without hope. So what I'd like to do right now is take a look at that chart where all the words are under full, and let's see if we can put a less at the end and use them. So the first one is joyful. Joyless? Yeah, you can use that. Without joy, that works. Powerful? Powerless? Yep, that's a word. Painful? Painless? Also a word. Careful? Careless? Yes. Truthful? Truthless. Truthless. Not a word. Sorry. Graceful? Graceless? Yes, that works. Beautiful? Beautyless? No, there's no such word as beautyless. Nobody's watching this anymore, right? You've clicked me off because this video is so boring. I'm just talking to myself, so I don't really mind. But I'm sorry this video was so boring. Please don't unsubscribe. You're probably still not watching, but please don't unsubscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. If you're still awake, maybe you can put this video on to fall asleep. Maybe you're tossing and turning in your bed. Oh, let's turn on Learn American English with this guy. He did that whole video about grammar. If this video is for nothing, hopefully it's able to put you asleep. Before we move on past hopeless, I do want to use it as an adverb. So in this sentence, it will be describing a verb, the verb to be, which is a really tricky one, but in the past tense it's was. You probably know that, but she was hopelessly in love with her boyfriend. So that is something you might hear, and it's like there's no hope of trying to change her mind. She is hopelessly in love with her boyfriend. All right, I'm kind of putting myself to sleep, but the next one is harmless. And this will be the last one we do for lists. Harmless, meaning without harm. And the sentence I have for you is, the snake was scary to me, but it was harmless. And I hate snakes. I don't know about you. Like, they just creep me out. They make a chill go right down my spine when I think of snakes. But this one was gross to look at, scared me, but it wasn't gonna harm me. It wasn't poisonous. How about the next one? Now let's use harmless as an adverb. She harmlessly swatted her boyfriend. Harmlessly. A swat, it's kind of like a punch is like that. A swat is just a little, doesn't hurt anybody. It's harmless. She harmlessly swatted her boyfriend. The last one for this video about grammar is able, the suffix able. And when you put it at the end, it literally means able to do whatever the root word is. So let's talk about acceptable. Able to be accepted. You're able to accept. And the sentence that I have for this one is the American dollar was an acceptable form of currency in the Dominican Republic. I did a little research, and the American dollar is actually able to be used as currency in the Dominican Republic. In restaurants, I guess if you give them $1, they'll accept it. And shout out to anybody watching from the Dominican Republic. Of the top 10 countries, like Dominican Republic is like number 9 for this channel. So thank you, anyone who's watching from the Dominican. The next one is noticeable, able to be noticed. Unfortunately, you can't say noticeful. That's not a word. So noticeless? No. Sorry. So this one only works really with able. So able to be noticed, able to be seen. And the sentence I came up with for this one is the man's face tattoo was pretty noticeable. So that's hard to miss if somebody put a big tattoo on their face. And in English, we just simply call it a face tattoo. As a teacher, I don't think I am able to teach with a face tattoo. Like if I got a big spider right there tattooed on my forehead, probably they might ask me to leave. Like, Mr. Watson, thank you for teaching, but yeah, we're gonna find someone else to teach the young ones. I don't know, face tattoo. But it's noticeable, hard to miss, noticeable. And the last one, right? Ready to be over, ready to end this video. Lovable, able to be loved. You can't say loveful, it's not a word. You might hear loveless though. Sometimes you will hear it like they were in a loveless marriage, meaning they're still together, but they don't love each other. And the sentence I came up with for lovable was the teddy bear was lovable. The teddy bear. A lot of little kids in the United States have these little fuzzy, soft bears that they sleep with. The teddy bear was lovable, able to be loved on. There is also something that's going on in the United States right now, and that is a lot of people are putting teddy bears in their window. And I'll take a picture after. I'll show you what my house has. We do have a teddy bear in the window because there's a famous book in the United States, maybe all over the world, but at least the United States, called Going on a Bear Hunt. And there's actually a song that goes with it, and it goes something like you tap your knees and you do this like little song, going on a bear hunt, something like that. I'm not scared, I'm not scared. And the kids repeat back what you say. So it's all about, and I'll put a link actually to the video for this. But the idea is that once they read the story, kids will get into the car with their parents and go around the neighborhood and looking in all the windows for the bears. So something to do while everyone is stuck inside and doing that social distancing is what we are calling it when you are 6 feet away from somebody. But a whole family could get in a car, drive around, going on a bear hunt, like the song. It's a catchy song. I can't sing or anything, but I'll put that link if you care. Take a look. Maybe you could do that in your neighborhood, wherever you are watching from. Sorry this was so boring. I knew this was a bad idea. Nobody likes grammar. But if you're still sticking with me, don't unsubscribe. Please subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell me how boring this video was. Don't put a thumbs down. That makes me feel bad. But I'm sure, don't lie. I don't want you to lie. You don't have to put a thumbs up. I'm shameful. I'm full of shame. I did a bad job today. I picked a boring video. Goodbye. And if you stuck around all the way to the end of that little awful video there, boring grammar, I'll give you a little picture of him up there. It was my son's teddy bear when he was younger. He named him Lucic after a hockey player.